Welcome everyone, my name is Patrycja Rozwora and I'm the host of Kitchen Conversations, a platform to speak about contemporary art from so-called Eastern Europe. In each episode, you're gonna be introduced to one artist, sometimes also a collective, whose visual or activist practice sheds light onto the complex former socialist region, with all its histories, cultures, languages, foods, but also traumas and their inevitable contemporary consequences. The podcast is a fully independent platform existing since May 2020. If you enjoy the monthly conversations, you can support me via Patreon or share the episodes with your friends or via social channels. Hi, welcome back to all the new and old listeners of Kitchen Conversations. Last month we were speaking about film. I gave 3 film recommendations of Ukrainian artists that are worth checking out. And today we will also continue with film and cinema with a conversation I had with wonderful documentary filmmaker Alisa Kovalenko. Alisa just premiered her newest documentary film, We Will Not Fade Away, at this year's Berlinale Festival, and a week before that we met online to speak about the film, to speak about the process of making the movie, about the war and how it influenced the making of her work, about the protagonists, about hope, dreams, and so on. We called online since Alisa was here only for the premiere. I was calling from Berlin and Alisa was calling from Kiev, where, as she said, on the day of the recording there were rockets being heard just in a neighborhood of hers, so not where she lives, but just next door. So for those wondering if Kiev is actually doing well because it's in the center of Ukraine, the war is still going on no matter where. Bigger and smaller cities are constantly under attack. So considering that, the conversation was even more valuable for me, since I was happy that Alisa was able to join and share her experiences. And I invite you to welcome her, to listen carefully to her work and her experiences, which, as you will see, are quite unique and very brave. Welcome, Alisa, to Kitchen Conversation podcast.
Hello.
We are here to speak about your film We Will Not Fade Away, that will premiere in around 1 week here in Berlin at the Berlinale. I was already lucky to see it, and today hopefully you will give us a little bit more insights about your inspirations, the process of making the film. For those who perhaps will listen to the podcast without seeing the film, you're presenting us with 5 young protagonists, 5 young people that lived back then in eastern Ukraine, and since 2014 are basically living in war. You show us their everyday reality and basically the lack of possibilities which this place can't offer them anymore. But there is something offered to them, invitation to join a very special expedition to the Himalayas. That's basically the story of it. And my first question here, finally, I will give you the mic. Yeah, what was the inspiration of starting to work with these young people, and how does the whole story, the whole film start for you?
It actually started with the organizer of this trip. I met him 2018, and he shared with me this dream. He's a famous Ukrainian explorer. He also worked a lot with kids. He created a sport TV channel for children. So for him, it was always something important to make some projects for children. And here he told me that he has this dream to organize this like adventure therapy trip for kids from war zone, for kids who were dreaming about traveling and see world outside and didn't have possibility to travel. And when I heard about this, of course, I was like very inspired because also I know Donbass very well, and I'm myself from eastern Ukraine, from Zaporizhia. It's a big metallurgical city. It's like full of factories. It's like a Ukrainian Detroit. So I knew. I knew at the time like how is it to be a kid and this kind of space, dreaming of something, like going somewhere, realize your dreams. And myself, I dreamed so much about see the world outside, and I didn't have this possibility. So I didn't travel during the time I was teenager. My parents were poor, so we didn't have any opportunity. So that's why I found it so amazing and so beautiful. So yeah, I just joined Valentin, the organizer. Yeah, and we started to think together about how to realize it. And we went together to Donbass. We see many children, lots of children, teenagers wrote letters to Valentin about their dreams, about why they want to go to Himalayas, why they want to see a world outside. It was like there were lots of personal letters about also their life, what they went through, and after he selected 5 teenagers, and after I started to go more deep in their lives and live with them.
All right. So Valentin actually shared with you the protagonists, let's say. He introduced to you those protagonists of the film.
Oh, we actually found them together.
All right. So you were also reading the letters and deciding.
Yeah.
Amazing. Because, of course, they are also amazing protagonists. They are also, all they do and how they behave is so special. They are also very, very smart people, I think, for their age, very, very mature. So how they speak to each other and how they talk about emotions. I thought it was very impressive. I think at 16 or 15, I wasn't so mature as they are.
Yeah, but probably they also grow up earlier because of all the circumstances around. It make you kind of, grow up.
Definitely. While watching the film, I also noticed a big difference of generations. So basically living in the same circumstances, the young people still have so much hope in them and still so much curiosity, and basically get creative with whatever they have there in these very difficult life conditions. But the parents and the grandparents seem to really be so worried and also kind of lost hope. Can you tell a little bit about your experience of working with those different generations in this particular small village?
Actually, for me it was a very important topic because these towns where I filmed, it's like coal mine towns where this generation and this post-industrial generation, they kind of start to disappear. And all these mines, they had so much problems, with salaries, with economical effectiveness of work of these coal mines. So it was clear that this generation, it's the last generation of working class generation, and these children, these kids, they had to find their own way in this world. What to do when you grow up in this small coal mining town. And for me, it was very interesting phenomenon how they were looking for themselves and how they were trying to find their own unique path. It was important, but of course also parents, their parents, grandparents, half of them understood that there is nothing to do in this place, so they have to go see the world, go to big cities and find themselves and realize their dreams. But at the same time, you have lots of people in this area who really want to live in this old world, and they don't see a new world coming. So, and they're kind of much more conservative in this, looking for new life. So they wanted everything to stay like it was 50 years ago. And this was also a conflict which I observed a lot in this area in Donbass.
How long did you work with them?
It was a really long process. It was like 3 years, and because it's 5 of them, and I had to spend enough time to, to have also trust, to feel this reality of each of them, to give to all of them this like voice, strong voice, and you have to spend quite a long time with them. So I was traveling because they're not also living. They're living in one area, but quite far away from each other. So sometimes I went for like 3 weeks, and at first I spent like 1 week with one week with another, and after camp and spent like another 3 weeks on another part of Donbass in Lugansk region. I became, of course, friends with them, with their parents, grandparents, everybody, because you are filming like it's not adult people, so you come and you film them. So you have to become like build relationship also with their families. So and it was also part of this work. It was for me very important to have a good contact and like good emotional contact with all relatives, also with all friends. I think now I know all teenagers from this area, like everybody. And when I, like after 1 year, people recognize me on street. Alisa, hello. So like all teenagers knew me because I went to discotheques with them, parties and like everything. So it's a moment, even like kind of felt that some teenagers consider me teenager as well, because like what is this girl is doing, like that she's like always hanging around with teenagers, and especially with one of the character, Andrei, he had his band of boys, like, and even after lots of his friends, they were like talking to me like I'm their friend, like I'm also 14 years old. So like, and of course to build this kind of relations, to be like implemented in this reality, kind of that you can become part of this reality. It takes time, of course, and I really wanted that everybody feel me not like somebody from outside, but that I'm completely from inside.
It's also so special that they somehow the young people got two adventures at once, right? They did get this invitation to go to the Himalayas, and also they got to be protagonists in a documentary about the process to reach to the expedition. So I think also your presence there was, I think, a big thing for them, no? And you gave them a lot of exciting moments, and I think that's also super beautiful.
Yeah. I think at the beginning they didn't understand how it will be, that I will spend so much time with them. But after they understood, they felt it. So like, and we had really nice moments, not only about filming, because I was not filming 100% like all the time. Sometimes we just had a nice moment without like camera. And this is important for me as a documentary maker. I love to spend some moments together, even when camera switch off, because it can build this kind of very important emotional relationship. So sometimes after 1 year, I think I started to film less, and I could spend 2 days filming only one scene, but just the rest we just went through different situations, moments, and I was observing a lot.
Do you have a big team which you work with?
At the beginning, we went together with a cameraman, but also I wanted to film also by myself, but at the time we didn't have so much money, so he was filming mostly. But after, I think 9 months, something like this, I bought a new camera, because we film with 4K, and it's it's it also required a lot of hard drives, it's so heavy.
It's heavy, yeah.
So, and at some moment I started to film by myself, because for economical reason, but also, of course, I wanted to film by myself, because I wanted to film more days spent there. And we couldn't afford a cameraman going and spend so much time in Donbass. So at the moment I decided, okay, I will do it by myself. So after 9 months, I filmed alone, completely alone. Of course, I have my friend sound designer who always saying like, "But Alisa, you don't forget to record good sound and atmospheres." Sometimes I forgot it, so she was very angry at me. Of course, at the end. That's why we actually also plan just before full-scale invasion to go and to record some atmosphere sound, you know. Yeah, so basically it was me alone in Donbass. And after in the Himalayas, we had a team, it was like 2 cameras, I film, cameraman, and Masha, sound designer, sound director, who also like record sound. So like in the Himalayas, we had like a full film team.
Yeah, and somehow I can really feel that the image you create is so personal and so intimate. I guess that's also one of the reasons that oftentimes you were just by yourself, and because you developed such a strong relation with the characters. Also in your previous movie, you worked with young people, with a young protagonist, Home Games. You directed your camera at a young girl or growing up woman who is very talented in playing football, and that is her possibility to perhaps get out of poverty she was born into. And also I feel those same interest comes in this film. Is there any particular motivation for you to work with young people and with people who are kind of on this border between being kids and adults?
Actually, I would say that I like this energy coming from young people. I love it. Like so, of course, and I have this energy from them, and it's like fulfilling me somehow. So I can be like inspired easily with these young, energetic people. But the story with Home Games, it has like a long background, because actually I made my student film during my time in film school in Kiev about my cousin who was a professional football player. So I knew about this female football culture a lot since I was a child, because she brought me to some games, and I was like fascinated by this world of female football. And after she finished sport career, she was like she felt completely lost. She couldn't find herself, and I came to her and I made this short student film. But I also at the time realized that many girls who played football with her, they were from poor families or dysfunctional families, and for them football became kind of a place where they found a new life and when they found hope. So for me it was very interesting, this phenomenon that these girls, and for them football, it's not just a sport, it's also they fight for a better life. And after the student film, I really wanted to find my cousin, but when she was like 16 years old, you know, to find like this character. And I knew that there are many characters like this, like in a female football, because my cousin also, her family is like not very, like they had lots of problems and with alcohol, and she grew up in a very, very bad situation, like in not nice circumstances, and with her parents. So at some moment I started to look for girls' clubs in Kiev, and I found one, and I came to this training. And it was very also nice because a trainer, she knew my cousin also. So
nice.
Like I had very easy this connection and contact. And I was observing girls, and one girl I was really interested in because I found her like kind of very cinematic. And after trainer explained, like just told me this story about Alina, the main character of Home Games, and I was like shocked, and I realized that okay, this is a story, and this is a girl I want to make film about. So it happened like this.
So you rather go really with specific stories to tell, but they happen to be young people because you're attracted to this, I guess, energy that maybe as adults we lose a bit, right? This pureness and hope and curiosity. Coming back to We Will Not Fade Away, the story is, of course, about reaching the Himalayas, going to the Himalayas, and the young people also, we see them train for this adventure. We will keep it open if they reach there and how it all developed, but I'm curious if the trip was supposed to be actually physically exhausting and challenging. Were the young people actually supposed to properly prepare for it, or was it rather like an easy hike and it was more just to see beautiful nature?
It was supposed to be hard. And we went to one training, it's not inside the film, but we went to Carpathian with them, and we all died, like physically. It was so hard, and we climbed Hoverla. It's like the highest mountain in Ukraine, and it was like really hard. And especially for us, for film team, we realized
with the equipment.
Yeah, with all equipment, camera, batteries, and like backpacks. So yeah, we realized, okay, we also have to train a lot. For them, but for me, actually, this like Himalayas trip, it was something more metaphoric and became at some moment, because for me it was not about this, it was generally about the power of dreams and how this your dreams can change your life and give you hope, and like so how you can conquer everything, like so for me this film became just a film about dreams and how these dreams can illuminate the darkest places. I was also a dreamer when I was a kid, when I was like living in this not very beautiful city, Zaporizhia. But I had so much dreams, and dreams helped me to, to have this childhood, not that dark, but rather like beautiful and funny, and it was full of adventure as well. That's why when I met my characters, I actually recognized myself in them. So for me it was very easy because I felt really connected with them.
Was the idea of the expedition to just happen once, or was it supposed to be like an ongoing journey, or like ongoing competition, or I don't know how you would say, for young people? And was this like the first tryout of this?
Yeah, actually we discussed it with Valentin, because he was like so much inspired, and he was saying, yeah, but like it could be good if I can create this project, like which can be like every year for kids, for teenagers. So we were thinking about it. Of course, it's like a question of money, support, like from ministries and institutions. But we were really thinking about it. I talked with him like a few weeks ago. He made this kind of therapy expedition for veterans, for some soldiers also. So now with the war, of course, it's very, very complicated to realize this project. But maybe it could be after, especially we will probably need something like this for children traumatized by war, this kind of therapy projects, adventure project, like travel, and it can be a very good way to go through all these traumas.
Of course, you said you started the film actually, or the idea started in 2018, but the film is premiering just now. So I can imagine you were still working on it when the full-scale war started in Ukraine. I'm curious how the war and living in Ukraine influenced the process of working on the film, and what actually pushed you to still finalize it and now show it here in Berlinale.
We were supposed to go to record these atmosphere sounds with my sound designer. And also I was thinking maybe to film some scenes for the film. So we planned this travel before escalation started, and after escalation in Donbass started, especially in this area from where like my characters. I decided to go. Masha, my designer, got sick, so she couldn't go. So I went there on 23rd of February. And I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning in the train, was like night train to Donbass, and my mother called me and said that rockets falling on Kiev. So, but anyway, I went to my characters in a Donbass, small frontline village. But after one day, I didn't want to film anything anymore. I felt powerless as a documentary director, what I can do, how I can help people. I felt really useless, and I understood that I have to act. At first, I wanted to evacuate them, to help them with evacuation from this area, because they were living really so close to frontline. It's like really frontline village. With two characters from another town next to frontline, it was already impossible to help them because they were occupied quite fast after a full-scale invasion. So I couldn't even go there anymore. But with the characters from another part of the frontline, I still could help them, but they refused. They didn't want to be evacuated. They said, we have very good defense with the Ukrainian army, nothing bad will happen here. And I was like, I tried and tried, and it didn't work. And finally, we managed to evacuate one girl, one of the main characters, Lisa, who's like a painter. So we evacuated her from Kharkiv. She was already studying there design. And we evacuated her from students' dorm where she was like under bombing. Her family was in Donbass and was already under Russian occupation. Her whole family, full family. And we brought her to Polish border and organized everything that she could go to Western Europe. And after, I decided that I will go to fight on the front line. So I went to see my son, say goodbye, and I went to fight on the front line. And I spent 4 months. And after our military base was bombed, our friend and comrade died there. My commander decided to take a break before sign official a contract with the regular Ukrainian army, because we are in volunteer unit. And I back home, and I started to think what I should do now. Who am I now? I'm a fighter, director. And of course, I realized that I have to finish this film now, because if I will sign a contract with regular army, I have to stay on the front line until the end of the war. And I didn't know how long this war will be. It will be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and I couldn't just say, okay, I will put back my film. And I felt also responsibility for my character that this film should appear, and I couldn't just forbid it somehow. That's why I decided, okay, I will finish this film, and after I decide what I will do next, I will go to frontline to fight or no, we'll see. That's how I back to editing process of this film. And of course, I also got influence from my colleague partners who told me, okay, Lisa, you had your fight on the front line, and now let's fight on the culture front. So let's finish this film and let's show it to the world, because it's also an important message, and it's important to show this life, this experience of teenagers.
And I assume 3 of them who managed to leave to safety saw the film or will see it?
Yeah, for the first time, they will watch it on 22nd of February, day of premiere at Berlinale.
Amazing. And you wrote also in the film, which I thought was so nice, that, you kind of gave a short description of what was their future, that most of them actually followed their dreams and managed to really do what they wanted. Of course, the war changed some of their situations, but 3 of them actually managed to leave and continue studying super creative and amazing things. I thought that was a really hopeful ending or message at the end of the film. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this here with me. I feel very honored to speak to you. And that's very true what you said, that fighting on the cultural front line is also very important. And especially that, we here can actually see the stories and, perhaps altogether change something and decide on the future. Last but not least, it might be a bit question from a bit of a different pot, but the ending of this podcast is always connected to tastes of home, because this podcast is called Kitchen Conversation. So we speak here about art, politics, but also food and home. And I think this all connects also to the topics of what you work with. So I wanted to ask you if you can share some favorite dish or taste or meal, Ukrainian food here with our listeners.
Yeah, of course, our main dish, it's borscht. It's kind of like a red soup with vegetables and meat, but there are so many recipes. Even in different region in Ukraine, you can find so much different recipes of this dish. But for me, my mother's borscht is the best, of course. I think it's for all Ukrainians, mother's borscht.
Or grandmothers, yeah.
Or grandmother. But me, I'm not really good cooking borscht, to be honest. I didn't practice it a lot because I'm always so busy with work, so I don't have time to cook, unfortunately.
I heard also that the talent for cooking and the fun with cooking goes through second generation. So if your mom was good in it, maybe your kids will be into cooking.
Could be
maybe.
Good. I don't want him to be a filmmaker for sure.
That's a tough job, right?
It's anti-family job. I don't have time for my son, and it's so much things. So I would prefer him to be maybe chef in the restaurant more than filmmaker.
That's nice. Well, there's a whole future for that. Thank you so much, Alisa, for this conversation. It was very nice to meet you here. Of course, all the best for the premiere. And I wish you all good feedback and curious reactions, and I'm so happy that soon people will be able to see the film and later also listen to the podcast. Thank you so much. And this was it for today. Thank you for reaching till the end of this episode. I hope you can watch the film somewhere if you haven't done that yet. It's definitely a must-see. And last but not least, I wanted to give you some tips of how to support this podcast if you liked what you heard. You can, of course, rate it and follow it on various streaming platforms. You can have a look and perhaps buy the Kitchen Conversations cookbook. That is a cookbook I published last year with recipes of artists who appeared on the podcast, and all the money from the sales goes to supporting this platform, of course. And lastly, you can become a patron of this podcast and support Kitchen Conversations with a monthly amount of your choice. And in return, you will receive some goodies from me and a lot of love and good energy. In the meantime, take good care, and we hear each other soon.